good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are listening from. Welcome to the Podium Podcast, where today it is the 2025 Japanese Grand Prix preview for what will be the third round of the action-packed 2025 F1 season as Formula One heads to the historic Suzuka circuit located about a couple of hours from Nagoya. It's on my bucket list definitely to go and try and go to a race there. But Suzuka, who doesn't like Suzuka? Fast paced, fans are electric there. The weather always throws a little bit of uncertainty into the mix. It is a driver's favourite, it is a fan favourite. You can't really go wrong there. But today we are, of course, talking about the 2025 Japanese Grand Prix, which will hopefully be something of a good race. The start of a triple header in the first triple header of 2025 as the F1 circus moves from Japan to Bahrain, then to Saudi Arabia. But before we talk about all that, let's talk about Japan itself. Let's start really with the 2024 race. This is what we do on the channel. Before we look about this year, we look to what happened last year, as Verstappen took his, I believe, his third win of 2024 in Suzuka after what was a pretty much solid 1-2 for Red Bull. Pretty straightforward race for them as Norris finished the podium off in third position with his teammate Piastri, I do believe, which was right behind them. The main talking points from last year, which we can kind of highlight to this year, is the tyre degradation, which we'll get onto later. But tyre deg is something which is very severe here. The two-stop is always on the cards, especially if there's a safety car inbound, which, I mean, kind of caught some people out last year. Ferrari tried the one-stop, I believe, or McLaren tried the one-stop, I believe. Anyway, vice versa, some of them worked out while some of them didn't. But another talk point we could take about last year and even the year before that, and possibly the year before that, is the nature of the circuit in regards to the start of a Grand Prix. It is, I mean, very, very narrow circuit with turn one coming quite thick and fast. It's not much of a run down into turn one compared to other circuits, but there's still a fair amount. However, there is almost a perfect amount of speed going into a really fast right-hander. People sometimes brake. It's always chaotic down there. And last year we did see Daniel Ricciardo and Alex Albon get caught out in turn 2, I believe, or maybe it's turn 3 going up the hill. But still, last year, even in 2023, there was an accident before even the first corner, because it's always very difficult to brake going into the first corner, because some people, obviously, it is normally flat out-ish in a qualifying lap for sure, flat out turn 1. However, in a race, there's things going on. There's the circumstances are very different to a qualifying lap, so it always throws some jeopardy in there. Well, we talked about 2024. Let's talk about 2025 now. Going into this weekend, of course, let's talk about the biggest talking points, and I think let's just address the elephant in the room. The man that has replaced Liam Lawson going into the Japan Grand Prix with Red Bull, Yuki Tsunoda. Boy, does he have a lot of pressure going into this weekend. After 2 Grand Prix, it was announced that Liam Lawson was dropped from Red Bull after a very, very, very poor run of form. I mean, you can't really call it even a run of form. It was just 2 poor performances, one in a wet weekend and one in a sprint race weekend. Regardless, very, very a quick and cutthroat decision. Regardless, Yuki Tsunoda will be stepping into the Red Bull, partnering with Verstappen in his home Grand Prix on home soil. God, am I looking forward to it. Yeah, I'm really, really excited to see how he does. This is definitely going to be probably the most pressure he's ever felt in his racing career. But yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of pressure on his shoulders. He knows what he needs to do. He's got the experience now compared to Lawson. He's been in the sport since 21. He's been to Suzuka probably plenty of times. He knows what he has to do, and he knows he can perform to what Red Bull expects of the Japanese driver. Add in the fact that it is at Suzuka a very difficult circuit, as well as it being his home race. God, lots riding on him. But regardless, in the press today, he was talking about how he was up for the challenge and that he kind of needs the pressure. without pressure for him, he finds it difficult to perform at his top level. And so going into this weekend, he feels like it's almost like any other weekend. He's got the opportunity now to go and fight at the front. So I think he is definitely going to be up for it. I hope he does well around here because it is going to be a very, very big talking point over the weekend. Was it a fair decision? Well, I've made a video about that, which you can see, just the most recent one if you go and click onto the channel's page. Because the second biggest talking point, which kind of relates to Red Bull, is the new livery. God, a Honda-inspired livery for the RB21, a white and red livery, which is quite nice. And to match with that, they've got white suits, and they've got also helmets, which I think Verstappen's helmet is very, very nice to look at. You got a red outline with the white background. It is something of a work of art. Will this livery make them go faster this weekend? We will see as we get into our when we're going to have to predict the qualifying race in the middle of the race, which we'll get into. Well, another talking point is another type of circuit that we're going to go to, which will hopefully prove if McLaren have all right out-and-out pace, which it does seem like they do, but Suzuka is very different to, I would say, a lot of the other circuit. Actually, no. It kind of relates to Australia, sorry, a bit more. China is very downforce heavy, slow corners, very just not stop and go. But Suzuka, there's only maybe one proper true braking point. It's a very fast and flowing circuit with a lot of high speed corners and high downforce needed. But I mean, Australia is kind of like that. Australia still, there's a lot more slow corners, but this is fairly different to the last two that we've been to. So if McLaren are here and they are fine, then I do believe that they will be fine, at least for the first part of the season, at any other track, regardless. So it'll be interesting to see if Red Bull can get into the mix, to see if Mercedes can maybe pull something out of the bag, even Ferrari. So it is all going into this weekend. Yes, McLaren might be favourites, but they're still definitely, it's not going to be straightforward for them. And I think you'll see in the predictions that I have made. Well, let's talk about the circuit. Suzuka International Racing Course, which is its full name apparently. 1 DRS zone down the main straight. Why? Because the run up to 130R on the back straight is not even a braking point for the drivers at this stage. So it'll be very dangerous for the FIA to go and put a DRS zone there. Does that mean overtaking is fairly sparse? You could agree, yes. I mean, strategy is fairly important around here, but you will definitely find yourself following single file. The only really braking points which you can overtake are turn 1, maybe even a Casino Triangle at the last couple of corners, even Spoon Curve maybe, and the hairpin turn 7, turn 8. After the two, I forgot what they're called, but after the sector 1, there's a hairpin. Oh god, I forgot about that. But yeah, not really many overtaking spots, but strategy is key around here. Who will suit this track? I mean, of course, McLaren are favourites going into this, no shadow of a doubt about that. However, Red Bull will look stronger around here, and I can definitely say that with confidence. They have a car which is good and high in the high speed corners, which we saw in Albert Park and in Shanghai. Which, I mean, sector 1 is all high speed corners. Even going into sector 2 is fairly high speed. So I mean, yeah, 130R also is very high speed. So it should be a circuit which goes well for them. But we will of course see come tomorrow morning. Yeah, 3 AM wake up call, which is not going to be fun. Weather. Tyre compound C1, C2 and C3 in that order, which means that tyre deck is going to be a factor for many of the teams. Let's go to the weather report. Well, I mean, it's been changing over the, I suppose, week that I've been looking at it, but Friday and Saturday are definitely going to be dry. I mean, Friday is going to be sunny, while Saturday might be a little bit overcast with a 10% chance of rain, whereas Sunday will be fairly sunny, not that warm over the weekend. I mean, the highs are only about 20 degrees, which is I mean, if you compare it to the UK, not far off the UK. But Sunday does have a 25% chance of rain. There are some people that are saying there's a 50% chance of rain. So, I mean, there might be rain in the area. It's kind of like a microclimate that we can expect around Suzuka. However, it will be, I think, more dry than wet. Let's go to predictions, the fun part of the preview. Qualifying. God, P5, I've gone for Lewis Hamilton, which will be an okay performance for him. P4, George Russell. Russell has been absolutely electric in qualifying, can I just say. He's been there or thereabouts matching McLaren's pace, and around one lap, he's definitely a force to be reckoned with. Now, Verstappen will be in P3, I believe, because I think he'll be okay, but not to match the McLaren's out in front as it should be. Piastri second and Lando Norris to take pole position in Suzuka. Now, come race, it might be a different story. Not for Lewis Hamilton, who I think will take the 5th position and keep 5th, whereas Leclerc will move up to 4th. Now, his fun part. On the podium, who do I have? Well, I do believe Lando Norris will finish 3rd from starting pole position. Why? Really don't know, actually, to be fair. I just don't think McLaren will have the race pace, or more specifically, Lando Norris won't have the race pace come Suzuka, whilst Max Verstappen will take 2nd, and Oscar Piastri will make it back-to-back wins in Formula 1, as he will take the 2025 Japanese Grand Prix. Middle of the race, this is just vibes. Who do I think is going to do well? Okay, well, here we go. From 1st to 5th, Norris, Russell, Hamilton, Verstappen, and Yuki Tsunoda. Based on vibes, nothing else. Biggest good performance. Who do I have? I'm going to say Liam Lawson around Suzuka. He's been to Suzuka many times in his racing career. In junior formulas, he was racing in Super Formula, so he knows that track like the back of his hand. And the one thing that a rookie right now needs is a good set of experience around a lap, which he has around Suzuka. The V-Carb itself as a car doesn't look too bad, despite it being an assisted team. So I think he'll do well, and I think he will have almost like a statement drive come Sunday. Biggest flop? Oh, Lando Norris. Lando Norris will be the biggest flop. I think he will get on the podium, however, he'll be expecting a win after starting from pole. I think there'll be something going wrong with strategy. We've seen it quite close in Australia and China, how when the McLarens are both out in front, yet Verstappen or Russell or Leclerc is only about 4 or 5 seconds behind, they can't do some strategical decisions that they could if they had a bigger gap, which always causes problems, which I think will happen around Suzuka. But yeah, I think that's a great place to wrap off a short but sweet Japanese Grand Prix preview. So make sure to like and subscribe, and have a simply lovely day. Goodbye.